Imagine the person you admire most, your own father, quitting everything he stands for. He stops being a protector, stops being a mentor, and just sits at home, drinking and filled with bitterness. Every time you try to follow in his footsteps, to carry on the legacy he abandoned, he tells you that you are wasting your time. This was the environment Kyojuro Rengoku grew up in, a house with no guidance and no approval. The fact that he didn't end up just like his father is the key to his perfect mindset. By the end of this video, you will understand the source of his internal strength, so you can learn how to protect your own spirit from negativity. When you're a child, your world is small. If you're lucky, it's a world of warmth and safety. For a young Kyojuro Rengoku, his world was his mother. She was the one who taught him everything. She told him the story of their family, the Rengoku clan, who for generations had been the Flame Hashira. She explained that their strength wasn't a gift, it was a responsibility. In one of their last conversations, she asked him,
Kyojuro, do you know why you were born stronger than others?
She was weak, barely able to speak, but her words were clear.
To protect the weak, that is your duty.
He made a promise to her. It was the most important promise of his life. He had a mission, a legacy to uphold, and a powerful father to guide him. His path was set, and then she was gone. The warmth of the house left with her. The conversation stopped. The sense of honor and duty that once filled the rooms was replaced by a heavy, empty silence. He was left alone with his promise. And his father, the man who was supposed to be his guide, was not dealing with the silence well at all. Kyojuro was about to find out that losing his mother was only the first part of his struggle. The real test was just beginning. The quiet in the house was one thing, but what came next was harder. Kyojuro's father, Shinjuro, was still the Flame Hashira. He was still one of the strongest swordsmen alive. A boy in Kyojuro's position would look to his father for guidance, for training, for a path forward. But Shinjuro just stopped. He stopped going on missions. He stopped training. Most days, he would just sit, saying nothing. The great warrior Kyojuro had looked up to his whole life was just gone. He was replaced by a quiet, sad man who seemed to have forgotten his duty. Then the drinking started. The sadness turned into a kind of anger, an anger at the world, at his duty, at everything. Kyojuro kept training on his own. He read the old books of the Flame Hashira, trying to teach himself what his father would not. He got stronger, and eventually he did the impossible. He became a Hashira all by himself. He went to his father, hoping that this news, this great achievement, would be enough to bring the old man back. He stood before him and told him he had reached the highest rank. His father didn't look at him. He just said,
"So what? It's all worthless."
This was the moment Kyojuro's father truly quit. Not just on the world, but on his own son. Kyojuro was now completely alone. He had the title, but he had no guide, no family support, and the hero he once worshipped had just told him his life's work meant nothing. This is the point where a person can break. Everything in Kyojuro's life was telling him to give up. The cold, empty house, the memory of his dead mother, the father who met his greatest success with pure scorn. It would have been easy for him to become bitter. It would have been easy for him to start hating the world that had taken so much from him. He could have followed his father's path. No one would have blamed him. He was completely alone, with no one to tell him what to do. There was no guide to tell him if he was on the right path, and no one to congratulate him for his hard work. He had every reason to doubt himself and the mission his mother had given him. But in that quiet, lonely house, Kyojuro made a choice. He thought about his father, a man consumed by his own sadness. And he thought about his mother, a woman who used her final moments to give him a purpose. He had two paths in front of him, his father's, which led to giving up, or his mother's, which was a life of duty. He chose his mother's. He decided, by himself, that her words were more important than his father's bitterness. He decided that protecting others was a duty that didn't depend on anyone else's approval. His mission was real, even if the person who was supposed to support him said it was worthless. This choice, made in total isolation, was the real beginning of his strength. After that choice, something inside him settled. He no longer needed anything from his father. He had his own duty, and that was enough. This is the source of the Rengoku we see. His powerful spirit wasn't a natural gift. It was a mindset he built on purpose, out of loss and disappointment. This is where he becomes similar to the great Roman emperor, Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius lived a life of immense pressure and difficulty. He dealt with war, plagues, and betrayal. Yet, in his private notes, he constantly reminded himself of one thing: his duty. His job was to be a good emperor, a good man, regardless of how he felt or how difficult things became. Rengoku's mindset was the same. His life at home was a mess, but he understood that his personal feelings about his father didn't change his own responsibility. He had a job to do. His mother's words gave him his mission, but it was the act of focusing on his duty that became his source of strength. When he felt doubt, he focused on his duty. When he felt tired, he focused on his duty. This simple focus took the power away from his negative circumstances. His father's bitterness couldn't stop him from training. The sadness in the house couldn't stop him from helping others. This is why he could maintain his spirit. His purpose wasn't based on feeling happy or getting approval. It was based on doing the job he had set for himself. This created a mindset that could not be broken from the outside because it was powered entirely by an internal sense of duty. So, how do we use this? Rengoku's story is powerful, but it's the mindset behind it that we can apply to our own lives. It's a simple lesson on how to find the will to act and become the main controller of your life, even if you're starting from zero. It's a two-step process. First, find your one simple duty. Right now, you might feel like you have a mountain to climb. The idea of working hard feels huge and impossible. So, forget about it. Instead, find one simple duty. This isn't a massive life goal. It's a small, clear, honorable action. Not get in shape, but my duty is to go for a 15-minute walk today. Not ace my exams, but my duty is to open the book and study one page. Your duty should be so small that it's almost impossible not to do it. It's the first step. This is your mission. It's not about the result. It's just about doing that one thing. Setting a huge goal when you have no momentum is a trap. A huge goal makes the distance between you and your target feel impossible. It makes you feel like a failure before you even start, which is why most people quit. A small duty is different. It's a win you can get today, and it starts to build the most important thing you need: a little bit of trust in yourself. Second, focus only on that duty and ignore everything else. When you're starting out, it's easy to get overwhelmed. You'll think, a 15-minute walk won't change anything, or one page of studying is useless. Your own mind will tell you your effort is pointless. This is where you follow Rengoku's example. He had a father telling him his life was worthless. You have that same voice in your own head. You must ignore it. Pull your focus back to your one simple duty. Ask yourself, did I do my duty for today? If you studied that one page, you were successful. If you took that 15-minute walk, you won. When you're just starting, the result is always going to be zero. No one gets in shape after one walk. No one is ready for an exam after reading one page. If you judge yourself by the result, you will always be disappointed, and it will reinforce the feeling that your small efforts are useless. But by focusing on the duty, you get a win every single day. This builds the habit of showing up, which is the only thing that creates results in the long run. You build momentum by collecting these small wins. That is the start of an unbreakable spirit. It begins not with a huge act of will, but with a small, consistent sense of duty to yourself. Rengoku is one of my favorite characters. There's just something about certain anime that can really influence the life you live. You see stuff like Solo Leveling or One Punch Man, and it makes thousands of us want to rush to the gym, and that's great. We see the physical change, and we want that for ourselves. But I think Rengoku is different. He's a character that can be studied for something deeper, for purpose and for character. He shows you how to live with a purpose when your world is falling apart, how to be a good person when it would be so much easier not to be. That is a much harder and much more important fight to win.